And on behalf of our organization and our partners at the Bedford Playhouse, I want to welcome you tonight to the screening of Plastic People. I've actually seen the film. It is an incredible documentary that brings to life the intersection between microplastics and human health. It is absolutely eye-opening, to say the least. But I also want to say it is hopeful. And ultimately, hope is what tonight is about. Tonight is about coming together as a community, and I know firsthand this is an amazing, passionate community that can do things, and we do things. And it's about coming together, and despite this big issue of the plastics crisis, we are going to come together and take action, and we are going to move towards a healthy, clean, plastic pollution-free future. That's what tonight is all about. And with that in mind, it is my great pleasure to welcome our anti-plastic legislative expert, New York State Senator Pete Harckham, who's going to talk about his groundbreaking policy to reduce plastic in New York State, to set the stage for the country, and how we can help make that happen.
Thank you, Mitch. Let's have a hand for Ms. Iorio and Bedford 2030. How about our friends at the Bedford Playhouse? Let's give them a big round of applause. We have to get you energized in order to get you really depressed. There are a couple sad facts, and then we will talk about the hope. Sad facts, you can't go a day without a study coming out about the harmful impacts of microplastics and nanoplastics. So I stand here before you. I have nanoplastics in my brain. I have nanoplastics in my organs. I have nanoplastics clogging my arteries. I have nanoplastics and microplastics in my reproductive organs, and so do all of you. And I don't think any of us, when we woke up in the morning, said, let's snort a line of microplastics. But that is what's happening, because we are breathing them in, we are drinking them. And so for years, we just thought plastics, the issue was what they were doing to the environment. But now there are very definitive negative impacts on human health. And the reason plastics are such a problem is the lie of plastics for the last 50 years has been, well, we can recycle them. You all see the little circular arrows on all the plastic products you buy. 95% of plastics cannot be recycled and are not recycled. And they can't be recycled because of the toxic chemicals in them, the harmful dyes in them, so they can't be refashioned into new products. So what happens to them? They either go to waste incineration, where they leach and they break down, or they, landfills where they leach and break down, or they go to waste incinerators, like in Peekskill. And so plastics are a big part of the problem, but so is other waste. Our municipalities are drowning in waste. U.S. taxpayers are footing the bill for all of this waste. And so we are taking action in New York with what's called an extended producer responsibility law. This has been passed in California and Washington, Oregon. Maine just passed one. Minnesota did a very watered down one. And what it says is that the people who produce all the packaging and all of the waste need to pay to dispose of it. And by giving them skin in the game, then they have a financial interest in reducing the amount of packaging they have. So we're carrying a bill called the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act. Passed last year in the Senate, didn't quite make it through the Assembly, so we have to go through the process again. It does a couple of things. One, it requires producers to get together to come up with a plan to manage all the waste they make, and then they pay into a fund that goes to municipalities, estimated conservatively $300 million to New York City and municipalities outside the city to manage and dispose of the waste. It requires increased amount of recycled content. It requires a decrease in the amount of virgin material. So we're talking glass, aluminum, but most importantly, plastic. 30% reduction in 12 years. That's doable, but let's imagine a world with 30% less plastic. The problem is, this bill is opposed by the biggest companies in the world. The oil companies, petrochemical companies, the plastics companies, the major food companies, because they don't want to change. They want you to pay to dispose of their waste. And they come up with fanciful solutions like advanced recycling or chemical recycling, which you may read about. They're being sued for fraud by the California Attorney General for that. The solution is less plastic, not finding gimmicks for them to say they are recycling plastic so they can actually produce more. So we're pushing this bill hard. It has a massive amount of opposition. Fortunately, we passed it in the Senate last year. I'm hopeful we'll do it again, but we need all of your help. So Midge has ways, and we'll tell you how you can be helpful. I saw there were some QR codes out there. There are groups like Beyond Plastics, Citizens Campaign for the Environment, Sierra Club, who are all working on our behalf. But the chemistry industry has dozens of high-paid lobbyists in Albany working every day to oppose this bill. So we need your help. I hope you're thoroughly depressed after you see this movie to cause you to take some action. But it's great to be back home in Bedford. And again, thank you to Midge, thank you to Bedford 2030, thank you to the Playhouse, and thank you, all of you, for giving a damn. Have a great evening.